Good morning and welcome to another episode of Canada Reads American Style. We're here for just like a, I don't even, it's not even a new segment. We're just joined. So I'm Tara. I'm here with Rebecca. Hello, Rebecca.
Good morning.
And we are here with part two of judging a book by its cover. So last week, so you can go back in our library or whatever the heck you call it on YouTube and check. And we did a special little episode in which we brought covers of books that we loved. Book covers, there we go. Book covers that we loved, whether or not we had read the book or not, just book covers that we loved. This time we thought we'd kind of switch it up a little bit and do book covers that maybe do not appeal to us that much.
Yes.
So this
And
was again fun.
yeah, and this we only have a few. We only have a few, but I have to say that there's no shame to anybody who may have illustrated or done the cover for the book. We're just saying, well, it's more me actually. I judge a book by its cover. So if I see a book on a shelf, because I'm a mood reader and I'll just browse and pick something, whereas Tara is more like you know what you want to read, you put your holds on your books and you read them, right? Or buy them. And for me, I'm more influenced by a cover. And so what I realized going through my collection here is that I think if I don't really like a cover, I don't buy the book or I don't read the book. So I don't have that many. But I'm going to start with this one. And this one breaks my heart to admit this because if you have children at home who love nature, this is one of the greatest books on the planet. But I do not like the illustrations. I don't like the cover. And the cover, I'm not going to even open it because it also looks like but it's everybody needs a rock and no I feel so bad about saying this. I probably shouldn't show the illustrator's name, but anyway, this book's been around forever. And Byrd Baylor, I didn't even realize this, she died in 21. She was 97 years old. This is a great classic. Again, if you have children who love nature, this is one of the greatest books. And I did a story time once with my kids, and I went and picked up a bunch of rocks and I brought in a box of rocks. And then after we read the story, I let every kid pick out a rock. And I'll never forget, there was a family of three little boys. And as they were walking out the door, the one little boy, I heard him say to his mom, Mom, look, I have my own rock. And I was like, that was just heaven on earth. So
Yeah.
I love the words. I love, 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 but I do not like the illustrations. I think they just wouldn't grab my attention. I never would have picked up the book if somebody hadn't told me you have to read this book.
Yeah. Now I will I actually love that illustration. When you held it up, I'm like, it's beautiful. Although I would
Yeah,
like for a children's book a
yeah,
different color, the mustard,
right.
right? Yeah, I
See,
would
this is
just
kind
like,
of like
yeah,
I
like I
I
love the
agree.
style. I agree. Like I think, but for a children's book, I would like a different color than like a mustard brown or yellow or something.
Yeah, and I think this came out, I want to say, I feel like it was like maybe the 70s or something. And so I kind of feel like it
Oh,
might have been that vibe of that
yeah,
time period. Yeah, 1974. So I feel
yeah,
like that was that kind of vibe.
yeah,
And maybe that's why it was that color. But I agree. And not that I wanted it to be like cutesy cutesy.
yeah,
I just didn't love that color. I think that's more it.
yeah.
Yes.
And I was going to say, not even just when I said for a children's book, actually, it doesn't appeal to me at 54, that color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same here.
I see that.
Same here.
Okay, mine is a different one. So I'm going to hold up. So this book I is one of my favorite books that I've read in the last few years. And the original cover that it was in, I do not like it. So it is Astra by Cedar Bowers. So I
Yeah.
originally read this, borrowed it from the library. So that is the cover. I can't tell you what I don't like about it, but I just not a big fan of
Yeah.
this cover, right?
Yeah.
And then I love the book, and I'm like, oh, shame. Even though I look at her and I'm like, oh, I like her freckles and stuff. But anyways, but I'm like not a big fan of that. However, I
Yeah.
love the book, so
Yeah.
I'm like, I am going to purchase myself a copy, and which I did when a new edition came out, whose
Excellent.
cover I love,
Ooh. Yep.
right?
I
The
agree.
purples, and if you read or have read the book like this, going from all these different female faces, like this little doll in a doll kind of look, totally goes with the story. This cover I love.
I do too. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And I would have been disappointed if I'd actually purchased the first edition and then saw this. I would have been like, damn it.
I'll donate this one and I'll buy this
I'll
one.
buy
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah. All right. So I'm making my way up. I started with picture book. Now here's a kid's book.
Yep.
And here's one of my, I've read this like 3 times. I love this book so much. Everybody's read it. Probably had a lot of people had to read it in school, at least in the US. And that is The Giver.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about The Giver, and the reason I didn't like the cover when I first read it was I felt like a kid browsing the shelves would not want to pick this up. It's like an old man, and I just don't think they would want to pick it up. However, I want to read something because then when I read this, then I was sold on the cover. And so I always tell people when I talk about this book, I've said this story so many times, but here's the deal. When Lois Lowry was a journalist, she interviewed that man, and his name is Carl Nelson, and he was an artist from Maine. And she was interviewing him for an article. And she said she took this picture or took a lot of pictures of him and wanted to use it for the cover. And then they did. And she said he had since died, but she used his picture for the cover. And then it says, she said, after it was published, a niece of Carl's told me that in the last 5 years of his life, Carl had been blind. Carl Nelson's life was filled with color. His paintings were often paintings of flowers, and he was a fabulous gardener. For him to lose color as the giver in the and for him to lose color as the giver in the book begins to lose color seemed such a wonderful analogy that I've always been glad his photograph is on the cover of the book.
Mm,
And I went, oh, that is such a beautiful, just serendipitous
yeah.
kind of thing that happened that made me now love the cover. And so I just think as a kid, you just wouldn't want to pick that book up. So,
No, I have not read that book, but
oh,
I
it's
know I do have a copy of it. I think I borrowed it from my oldest, and it's on the shelf behind me, but it's a different cover. I
yeah.
can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does it have the
Well,
old man on the cover?
oh, I don't think so. Wait 1 minute. It's literally
Wow.
behind me. So you're just gonna
Okay.
see my chair for
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah. That's pretty wild. And maybe that's why people just didn't, never
Yeah.
appreciated the old man on the cover, and so they changed it.
Oh,
But that's funny.
there it is. Just a minute. Sorry, can you see this? I don't know if you can see me.
It's all right.
There we go.
We can't really see that much. You're in shadow, so it's
Oh,
cool.
you know what? He is on the cover, but it's still a different cover. So there we go.
Oh,
So
okay, yeah,
I really like this cover,
yeah,
but
yeah,
now that you've told the story, I like and I know why now his face is still on it. So that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. That okay? Because I was going to say that's such a powerful
Yeah,
story that she tells or told about it. So yeah, okay,
yeah.
all right.
Okay. We got a trend going here of faces on covers. That's why, like, when I started thinking about this last week, when you had mentioned it, or the last couple of weeks, I'm like, oh, I don't think I like faces on a cover. I think that's my problem. So this
Oh,
is a very popular book. I checked on like Storygraph or something this morning, or even Goodreads, one of them, and it has like over 120,000 reviews. It was a Man Booker Prize finalist, and
there you
it
go.
is, and I really hate this cover, and it is for A Little Life
Yeah,
by Hanya Yanagihara.
yeah.
I I I really like, and I know a lot of people have read it. It's very
Hmm.
popular. It's got great reviews, like star reviews. It's
Yeah,
but I've also heard it's very, very, very sad, which is
yeah.
another thing. Like I don't really that's not I don't mind a sad book, but as we all know, I'm one of those people who likes a little bit of just a sparkling of hope. So the totally sad book with that cover, I can't stand that cover.
Yeah.
Really, like I have a visceral reaction to that cover.
He looks like an American actor, and I can't think of his name, but that whenever I look at that picture, I can't think of the name of the actor. If I think of it, I'll put it in the show notes because I can't remember.
Yeah.
He's like a famous sort of like I feel like he was a young actor in the 80s or something, or in the no 80s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. And I can't think of his name, but that's what he looks like to me. So that's what I think of
Yeah.
when I see that picture. But yeah, he
It
looks like he's in
reminds
anguish.
he reminds me of Jim Carrey, which is totally like the wrong vibe. The comedian, the comedic actor, which is totally the wrong vibe for this book. Which I think is also why I'm kind of like, oh, is it like Jim Carrey doing his Ace
Yeah.
Ventura detective? Like I'm just no. So I'm sorry. It's nothing against the book. Again, just the cover. And I probably will at some point read the book.
Yeah.
Maybe when a new edition comes out, but that's the only cover I ever see of
Yeah.
this book.
Well, here's mine. I loved this book. I love this book so much. It was a Canada Reads book. I love this book. Everybody's read it. Everybody loves it. Well, not everybody loved it. Actually, it was kind of controversial because some people just hated it. I just do not like this cover. Small game hunting. I just do not like this cover. And I don't, and if I had just walked along and if I had seen it, I would not have even looked it up, especially because it says small game hunting and I'm, not into hunting.
Yeah.
And it has this deer. I just think ugh, I just don't like it. So,
Yeah.
and again, it doesn't need me to promote it, like it or
No,
not like it. It's wildly popular and
yeah.
or yeah, popular or yeah, well read by many, 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 many people. But did you like it? I don't like it.
I I do like it actually
Yeah.
because I like the deer and I like the color scheme of the
Yeah.
painting as well. So as like a painting, I actually really do like it, but I can totally see why you wouldn't like it as well.
Yeah. It's just this big animal face that I don't know. I just don't I just don't
Yeah.
care for it. Anyway, all right. And then I have one more,
Okay.
and because you have nothing else, right?
No, that's it. I just had
Okay.
the two.
Okay. So here's the one, and this is really funny. So when I was a kid growing up, my mom always had a big stash of books at home. And I used to go through her books all the time when I was looking for something to read. And I came across this book a million times and I never, ever, ever would have picked it up. So it is because I just didn't like the cover. I don't even at that time
Wait.
I didn't even know what it was. In fact, I looked it up recently because I didn't even know what the story was. It's Dandelion Wine by
Oh,
Ray Bradbury. And the
yeah.
thing is, when I looked it up, it's a collection of like they said slightly connected short stories about a 12-year-old boy growing up in this small town. Okay,
That's a
well,
Rebecca book.
it totally is. And so I'm looking at this cover going, well, so I am going to read it in 2026. I don't think this year, but in 2026, I will add it to my list and I will read it because it's like growing up, I hated that cover. I think I thought it was
Show it
sci-fi
again.
or
Can you
horror.
show it again?
It was like sci-fi or horror, I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's got
Mm-hmm.
like a skull in a
Oh yeah,
bottle and
yeah.
all those
And that
weird.
face, there's like an old man's face at the bottom of the
Oh yeah,
bottle
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
horror face kind of thing. So I don't know. And to be honest with you, I now I look back and I go, did my mother read this book? It's not a book she would have ever like. She didn't read those kind of books, so I have no idea how the book got there. So
It's a
but I
little tricky
remember it was
looking.
upstairs on the second floor in that little closet where she kept all of her books.
And
So
how old were you at this time? At the time?
I know I was a teenager. I was a
Okay, yeah,
teenager.
I see
Yeah,
that.
looking at it, going, no, I don't want to read that. So
Yeah.
I passed over it a million times. But in fairness, I also passed over A Tree Grows in Brooklyn a million times. And then I don't know, like 20 years ago or something, I read it for the first time. And it is one of my all-time favorite books ever. It is just
Yeah.
a magical, amazing story. And so my mom did have good books at home. I just
Yeah.
just passed over them. So
I
yeah.
mean, I find this whole cover thing, this little like judging a book by its cover, very interesting. Because I've learned, and I knew this kind of, but I really deep dived into it recently when we started doing this. Because
Hmm.
my oldest Keegan, she loves a pretty cover. Like
Hmm.
her collection of books is mostly pretty covers. She will buy them based only sometimes on the cover. Like she will
Ooh,
buy a book
okay.
based on the cover. And she even told me yesterday she really enjoys buying books knowing nothing about them. Like buying
Ooh.
books and reading a book, going into it knowing nothing, which I am the complete like I may not remember like something will go on my list, my TBR list, and I'll read, a couple of years later I'll read it or get to it, and I won't remember why it's on my list, but at some point I've heard about it. Like, you know what I mean? Like at some
Yeah,
point I've heard something about that book that made me want to read it. I
yeah,
don't know if I've ever picked up a book just
for the cover.
like, yeah, based on the cover, knowing nothing about it, not
Okay,
even
I
having
feel
read that.
I feel a lot better. I appreciate that Keegan does that. I'm glad she does
Yeah,
that because because when you and I started talking about this, I thought it was so fascinating. I thought because of the phrase, we judge a book by its cover, I kind of thought it was a standard thing among readers that we sort of did that a little bit. And then to find out you really don't, I thought, oh my gosh, that's fascinating to me. And I wouldn't pick up a book. Like, I appreciate that she does that because she is literally picking up a book for the way it looks and she
yeah,
reads it. Whereas I still have to, I do a sort of a hybrid. I'm going to be judge it kind of on its cover, but then, I want to know a little bit about it before I pick it up. Either bring it
yeah,
home from a bookstore or to buy it. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's interesting.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
If you have our listeners, if you are watchers, I don't know what you're called,
Yeah.
listeners and watchers,
Yeah.
have a book that you have judged by its cover, either positively or negatively, please put it in the comments. We would love to hear so that we can then look up that cover.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. All right. I think that's
Okay,
it, right?
that's it. Happy reading. Until next time.